Nebraska, because people underestimate Nebraska.
Yeah.
What it has to offer.
How many acres?
42 acres.
Hey.
Social media is a necessary evil.
Yeah.
For me, it's not just a saying. I have literally bled out there. It does take a little bit of crazy to start your own business.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Wedding Vendor Chronicles, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of weddings and gives you an in-depth analysis from the perspective of the unsung heroes. Vendors, I'm your host, Ether.
I'm Cornell.
And today we have a phenomenal guest, Amber, joining us, a new wedding venue owner in eastern Nebraska, an hour north of Omaha in Takema, right?
Yep.
Okay. Nebraska's newest premier glamping and wedding venue, offering an exclusive property for your imagination to wander. Let's please give a warm welcome to Amber Palace.
Hey. Yay.
So first of all, for our listeners out there that don't know anything about glamping, can you define what glamping is for everybody?
Sure. So the technical definition is glamorous camping, right?
Right.
They've combined those two words. So it's for those of us who do not think sleeping on the ground sounds fun.
The worst.
Oh,
Just the
yeah.
absolute
I am
worst.
not that girl.
Yeah.
No, no. So, no, it's bougie. That's how we refer to everything out there. Is
Yeah.
it's bougie. So we have king size beds, clawfoot tub, showers. Every unit's got its own toilet. Really, the only thing that makes it kind of a camping is it's a walled canvas tent. So,
There's an outdoors part.
yeah, so you have a deck that you can sit out on, and it's on 42 acres, and it's an old winery. So the tents are embedded into some of the vines that are left over. We just cut some of them out and stuck them in there. So you kind of get that aesthetic as well, and it's just really peaceful. You know, the wind's whipping, then the canvas moves. Like, you know, if you've ever actually stayed in a tent, you know, you kind of get that noise. So
Man. I mean, yeah. I hate camping with a passion. Actually, we were in Boy Scouts
Yeah, together.
and
Oh.
I hate camping so much because we had to do this thing. It's called High Adventure where you have to test it's like this camping
you have to
trip.
start fires with a wood.
Yeah, you got you have
and-
to test your skills and stuff.
Nope.
And
Yeah.
we had to have somebody that's injured, and you have to wrap their arm up, and you take them on a toboggan. And one of the times I went, it was freezing, the coldest it's ever been. I feel like in Nebraska, and so you have to, when you're doing Boy Scouts, you have to do a certain amount of campouts.
Yeah.
I think it's 32 or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
Got to get those badges.
But
Yeah.
I waited, and so I had to do a huge chunk. I think 18 or something like that.
No.
And so every weekend I had to go camping so I could get my camping mare badge. And so
Nope.
yeah, but glamping,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been a big deal because you can just chill.
I don't think they give you badges for that. There's no skills required to
The
glam.
glamping merit badge.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally give you fire starter so that you just stick that under your fire, light it.
Dang.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, see, I would have done it if it was like that, but the way we had to do it is basically, I mean, yeah, we had tents, you didn't have to build your own shelter or anything like that, but pretty,
no, it's not naked and afraid.
yeah,
No.
pretty dang near close. I mean, yeah. So is that kind of the same for you, or is that the reasoning behind glamping? Why not have a place where people can come set up tents?
Right. Honestly, I was never really an outdoors girl.
Okay, that's
Ever.
It. That's it.
But as I've gotten older, kind of aging myself, but as I've gotten older, you start to learn to appreciate those things. I do love to garden.
Oh, okay.
You know, I have my home and I tinker around in that and I garden and stuff, but it's just kind of, you were just I need it. You need it. I mean, and that's what we really tell people. I mean, our tagline is you deserve to disconnect, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I go out there, so it's an hour from Omaha, as you guys mentioned, and I go out there and it's just peaceful. And you're just okay.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm getting my hands in the dirt. You know, I'm physically exerting myself when I'm out there. It's just a different thing. I'm getting up from behind my computer,
Yeah.
you know. So, I mean, it's My side of it is not glamorous by any means. But if you are a guest, then yeah, for you it is. You just come out, I mean, hang out with your friends, tell
Detach.
campfire stories,
Yeah.
have some cocktails.
So do you think there's something, I think that's interesting because, we had COVID and then everybody's indoors and like working from home and everything like that. And you mentioned like having a space for people to kind of detach. You think that we kind of like as a society have gotten away from that ability to kind of just detach? Because everything's like, if you lose your phone, you're done.
Oh,
You know?
100%. Yeah. I think it's kind of sad, but I think being outdoors is trendy right now.
Okay.
I really do. I think because you see a lot of boho stuff. You see a lot of people buying chickens and growing their own vegetables and getting back to their,
to the roots,
prairie
yeah.
roots.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, we're not going to offer chickens or a veggie patch, but, but I think people really are craving that.
Yeah.
I think we went so far one direction, technology and city, and now people are like, oh,
balance it out.
They always call it the simpler life, but it's actually not. I mean, it's a lot of work if like that's the style you want to go down, but
Right.
But it's probably simpler in the fact that you're demanding yourself, right? You're demanding things of yourself. You're responsible for yourself. So outside of becoming a completely off the grid living type person, then you just come out and you just glamp.
Yeah.
You get a little flavor of that, right? And then you can go home to all your technology and your crazy schedules and shuttling your kids to 14,000 events.
You get a taste, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but back to the original, I mean, I wanted to provide that. So I travel a lot. My husband and I travel a lot. And one of the things that I did once without him and then once with him is I've gone on a couple photography safaris in Africa. And if you want to know glamping, they do glamping in Africa.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
Luxurious, huh?
Oh, 100%. It is a 10-star type of thing. Forget 5-star.
Dang.
Yeah. I mean, plus you get all the cool animals, but I can't
Yeah, I was
offer
gonna
those.
say, yeah.
We've got beavers and squirrels, but
No lions.
no lions. I've got some of my photography's hanging up in the tent, so I can give you a photo of a zebra and things like that, but I can't give you the real animal. But that was really inspirational to me because it was so peaceful. I mean, just going on a little tangent, Zimbabwe for me was magical for me. I mean, if I ever thought I belonged somewhere, it was there.
It's like a life-changing experience.
I cried all the time.
Dang. What was it about it that cause you just like felt this level of peace, or what exactly? What was it?
People were so welcoming. Every time we arrived back in camp, they would be singing one of their native songs, and my phone was off for 10 days. I was vibing with creative people. We were all learning from each other. We were seeing all this magical stuff. I mean, you're just like, yeah, this is real. This is not just the Lion King, right?
Yeah,
this is real life. And it was just inspirational. And I was just like, oi. I mean, and all of our roots are from that continent.
Yeah.
So I just had a pull. But every time I came back to camp, I got emotional.
Dang.
When the trip was over, we were emotional, or I was emotional. I mean, there was a lot of emotions from everybody there, but I was just like, oi, this is way too much crying for me.
So you're trying to recreate that.
I am
here in this space.
Yeah.
So
and I was like, I need to bring that back here in Nebraska because people underestimate Nebraska.
Yeah.
What it has to offer. I lived in California for 7 years. I did the LA thing. And the typical question is, what did you do in Nebraska? What does Nebraska have? And you're just like, oh,
so true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of like, it has a lot. And especially, let me tell you, Hollywood, what it's given you. And I usually rattle off all the famous people that have come from here. But, I just was like, there is beautiful spots. We're not that flat. You know, I mean, we have flat sections, but where we're located at in Tekamah, it's actually really beautiful rolling hills. We're nestled in a valley.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. I mean, if you travel further out into western Nebraska, you get different landscapes. But I don't think you have to go to Africa because not everybody can.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a trip. Financially, physically, mentally, it is a trip. But you can just go an hour or two away and still get that same effect. Just get that
peace.
That peace, exactly.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, you don't have to go across the world to experience something like you experienced. That's life changing and
I'm very fortunate, right?
And
right. I'm very fortunate that I get to have those experiences. And like I said, but I realize not everybody does.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So with the glamping, you have, it's like a glamping venue,
right? So because I never do anything small, I had to do glamping and events.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I've always been a creative, and everything I do has been big. When I paint on canvas, it's big. When I print my photos, they're big. I don't know what small scale means, which might bite me back at some point. But so we bought this property, and then we took out a construction loan. And
which the property is how many acres?
42 acres.
Dang.
Yeah. So it was a winery, like I mentioned previously. It was a former winery, so there was some infrastructure already there.
Okay.
There's the Morton building where they did their wine tasting, and they did their winemaking in the back half of it. So that we did have that. There was a house there, but we sold that and they moved it off.
Okay.
Because eventually the hill is where I want to build when somebody decides they want to give me a lot of money. And there was a little barn on there. So we've done a lot. Also, I mean, so we already had power. It wasn't raw land, because we were originally looking at raw land, and we had no clue.
Yeah.
We had no clue what we were up for, because the infrastructure we did have to put in just even to run to the tents, it's not the fun money to spend. You're like, oh, I'm burying $60,000 worth of electric cable. Awesome. Nobody's going to know that.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, but I want to make it pretty. And I have my budget's much smaller for that. Because you're going to need power. We had to dig a well. It's no joke.
Yeah.
So, and so the event side of it is, so I've told you a little bit how we got to the glamping, but the event side of it is that my husband and I and my friend Heather, who's also our event coordinator, we both had wedding weekends.
Yeah.
So I got married up in the mountains of North Carolina, and obviously as the bride, it was still a blur.
Yeah.
Right. I still don't feel like I really know what happened that day, except for I got married. That was about it. We signed some paperwork.
Were you drinking or?
Yes.
That's probably, that probably.
But I was a nervous wreck, because I am OCD and a control freak, and anal. And so I just was so worried about all the little details. I mean, and I had day of coordinators, and I had, the venue had a coordinator. You know, I had friends, so there were people there, but it's the control issue, really. That's my problem. But anyway, so I was just like, that's what it's about. It's about more than just 12 hours. You know, do the whole weekend, because it's just so fast.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. And you spend a lot of money. We spent a good chunk of change on our wedding. And I've asked my husband, I was like, can we recreate this so we can go slower? And he's like, no. Which is fair.
Yeah.
But I just am like, man, I feel like there's these other little moments that I just didn't slow down enough for. So I'm hoping that by offering and going down this avenue of wedding weekends, that we're giving them, the bride especially, no offense to the grooms, but you guys are more chill on the day. But the brides, you know, to slow down, because they don't have to get it all done in this small time frame. And that's
really
the standard.
Is a small time
it
frame.
is. It is. And that's the standard. And maybe that's what people want. And that's totally cool too. We just want to provide the option to be like, just blow it out for the whole weekend.
Yeah. Just have, instead of, because you're like waking up at like 6 a.m.
Yep.
And then, you know, you got to get all your people there, and then like makeup and hair, and then you got to go take pictures, and then you got to go to the ceremony, and then the reset. Like, dang, that's pretty cool. So it's just, what you're offering for couples is basically, you know, an opportunity to just soak in everything instead of feeling like really rushed. And then you look back and you're like, I don't even really remember my wedding as opposed
No,
to
like you're just creating false memories from your pictures.
yeah. Wow.
You know, in some way, like you're like, okay, yeah, I'm really gonna dig deep into that, so I feel like I had that moment. But you're like, but I didn't really. Like it feels fake in some ways.
Dang. Yeah.
Because I have some of those for myself where I'm just like, man, I wish I would have enjoyed this more,
Yeah.
or really slowed down to take this in. But you know, people are pulling you all over. We had a photo booth, so I'm taking pictures with all my peeps, and then trying to get out on the dance floor. And
Did you have a videographer?
no,
One of our
Epic
last
fail.
guests. Yeah.
Epic fail.
We've had 2 videographers on here, and they said like it's huge.
It's so dumb that we didn't, because it would have been a drop in the bucket for what we spent. And I was like, why didn't we do a videographer?
Yep. You need it. You need it.
Did you do a band?
So no. But I'll tell you what though, if I knew of a band like y'all existed back then, I would have done it.
Yeah.
That's what they all say.
Truly, because
If I could get married again, I would.
seriously, because I mean, you guys kill it, but no band. I was like, no
Yeah.
band, because I didn't think they had the range and the variety.
Yeah.
You have proved me wrong,
you
which
had-
is awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think
we
you guys are
appreciate
like the standard in my opinion, because I don't know, I was like we were talking earlier before we started recording. I like all sorts of music, especially stuff I can dance to.
Yeah.
Minus country. Sorry, family. But and there's a lot of good country nowadays. I've been so anti it my entire life that I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I can't do it either. Every once in a while, a country song will come on. I'm like, that was pretty good. I like that.
It's Chris Stapleton, then. I make an exception for that.
Yeah, but
See,
it's like I
he's-
don't even count.
It doesn't really count sometimes.
They're almost
Yeah.
poppy.
Almost feels
yeah.
like, yeah.
But he's just good though. He's just like,
He is.
yeah.
He is.
He's
And
an amazing vocalist and performer. We went to his concert, and yeah, that was really good. I want you to talk about just kind of, we have vendors on here that are in all different stages of being in the wedding industry, and I think that people's stories resonate with listeners, whether they're in one spot in their journey or another. I just think that there's this, I don't know, people don't understand. You just mentioned it. Like, nobody knows I spent $60,000 so I can run like an outlet from
Right.
the main property out here. So can you talk like just about, maybe your initial thoughts and stuff of going in to it, and then just like the struggles and obstacles that you faced being like
My
a
initial
relatively
thought is don't do it. No, the struggle is real.
yeah,
Honestly, I completely underestimated what it takes.
really,
Because I just thought, well, if you build it, they will come. Wrong.
yeah,
Wrong. It is a tough industry because it is saturated
yeah,
with everything.
Mm.
There's so many options. But and we're an hour north of Omaha.
yeah,
Would it have been easier to find a pre-existing venue and buy into that, or a building and just keep it simple? I shoot myself in the foot all the time thinking about that, going, oh God, Amber, why didn't you just keep it simple?
yeah,
But again, I can't seem to do that. So, and I wanted to be able to build something from the ground up,
yeah,
right? The infrastructure stuff. I mean, let's just start there. Like I talked about electricity, digging a well, permits,
Oh, yeah.
the fire,
Lots of those.
fire marshal. Thank God my brother-in-law is on the fire marshal department. So I got a little inside track there. Codes. We're not building anything yet. Eventually we want to build a proper venue on this hill. So right now everything would be tented, which is trending right now.
yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
we're in it. But and the upkeep. I mean, me and my husband are the employees. We mow, I do the laundry, I take the reservations, I write out. Everybody gets a handwritten card when they stay. figuring out what the contracts are supposed to look like, joining groups to meet vendors like yourselves, to, to learn from you guys. Because regardless if you're a venue owner or not, you guys have stuff to offer too.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have been hugely helpful for me, and super welcoming, which is really great too. So, I mean, I just opened a package today. I got binders, because we're going to create a binder for inside the suite. You learn and you go, do things as you learn. I mean, we constantly pivot. We get feedback from our guests, and every piece of feedback we've gotten, we've made adjustments for things, small things like we didn't have hair dryers right away. Duh. I mean, I travel all the time. I know there's hair dryers in the room.
Yeah.
So, boom, right away, we got hair dryers. I just feel like there's so much that I'm kind of all over the place, so I apologize. But
no.
There is so
we love hearing this. Yeah.
much that you don't know, and there's no one book on how to open and run a wedding venue.
Yeah.
And I really wish somebody would write it, and maybe that somebody someday will be me, but I can't take that on right now because I also work full time on top of all this.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I mean, venues are a different beast too, because we've had venues that are willing to share with us, others that just don't. And I'm like, okay, we're not going to be that type of venue. I'm saying that here and now.
Yeah.
I am happy to talk to anybody about it because we're just shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
Every time, like this piece of spaghetti, throw it against the wall. Oh, that one stuck. Okay.
Sounds good.
10 others just fell off the wall.
Yeah. Man, that's such a, that's real and very relatable. And I think that, it just reminds me, and it's not like we've been in this for 20 years or anything like that.
No, but how long have you guys been in it?
This will be year 8.
That's significant.
8, not 8?
8, yeah.
So it just like reminds, and a lot of what you said is like we still deal with even now. But it's like when we first start out and you just don't know what you don't know, Like we had all of our contacts and everything in a spreadsheet, and like we'd have their name and then their email and their phone number, and then we'd like write out notes of like what kind of music they like. And then I remember this one time where we had like maybe it was like 10 weddings or something for the year. And I was like freaking out. I was like, wait, which weddings are you doing and which ones am I doing? Like, are you the contact on this or am I the contact? And it's like, there's so many things that you have to figure out, and it gets better. So that feeling of like, man, like what are we, because we still feel that now. Because it's like you got to do social media, you got to stay in contact with your clients, stay in contact with the other vendors, go to the mixers, and a lot of times you're just like, dang, like what are we even doing? Like we're just going around in circles.
You feel like you're chasing your tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, social media is a necessary evil.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I think Heather does that. Thank God she took that over for me, because I don't know. Putting myself out there is really hard for me.
So you don't want to be like the face of...
But I am.
Because it's your name.
It's my name. Yeah. So I am. I mean, I don't know. It's just awkward for me. I've never been a front of the camera person. I'm always behind the camera.
Yeah.
I was when I was listening to Andrea's podcast, she said she's an introvert, and I very much am too. I was just like, yes, girl.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Like after this, I'll probably just be like, I need a nap.
Yeah.
But you have to put it on. You're like, okay, you have to smile and be like, let's be kind to everybody, even though I might be having the worst day ever. And you're crying inside because you're just like, please, somebody book a wedding.
Yeah.
Or this year, we're going into our second season. We've got some bookings trickling in. And you just hope that this year's better than last year.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth, because eventually you're going to have to, call uncle and be like, I guess we're out, because can't keep floating it.
Yeah.
But these are the things that you go through. I mean, before this, my husband and I could do whatever we want, whenever we wanted. We don't have children. Mm-hmm. So financially, this is our child.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, okay, I somewhat get the financial drain now children take from you. The rest of it, I don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a great aunt, but I I'm like, oh, okay, so we are broke now. All that extra income, we can be like, okay, where are we going this year for, let's go out of the country twice a year. Okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
So this
year's trip will be Vala's pumpkin patch.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
They are pretty expensive.
And I've actually never been there, so but I've heard it's amazing.
Yeah, you gotta go.
No, I heard it's a thing.
Yeah. For those of you that don't live in Nebraska, it's a pumpkin patch. Everybody goes.
It's on
every year.
roids.
It is. It's
it's
the Disneyland of pumpkin
theme
patches.
park. Exactly.
Yes, it's more than a pumpkin patch.
Yeah, it's way more than a pumpkin patch. Yeah, the Disneyland of pumpkin patches.
Correct.
Disneyland of Nebraska.
Yeah,
Correct.
the Disneyland of Nebraska.
And there's two. There's a pumpkin patch on the way up to Tacoma outside of Blair, and there's another one in Oakland. So we're surrounded by pumpkin patches.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's your trip for this year. I think that's so cool though, and I love the fact that you're just willing to be open and vulnerable about it, because
Oh, sure.
I think even, as a business owner or a vendor in the space, it's like people hear you, oh, you own your own business, or you own your own property or whatever.
It's not glamorous.
Right. And they're
Right?
like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Like, you get to do this, you get to do that. But there's also really great things about it. But the thing that I'm most interested to see is like because this is only year 2. You know what I'm saying?
Year 2.
And so in year 5 and 6,
Yep.
I just want to be able to like show you this and like,
Same. Same. Because I want to be like high-fiving myself for surviving.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up though, is because
It's a grind.
they don't stick with it. It's like, dang, we took this really big risk, which,
Yep.
Kudos to you.
Mm-hmm.
And, the thing, when the waves start coming, because they come every single year, it's like, all right, what's kind of my North Star? Or why do I want to continue doing this? And so I think for business owners, like creating their mission statement, their vision statement, like where do I want to be in 5 years? Why am I doing this? And I think you already said it like very plainly and clearly. You want to be able to recreate that experience that you had when you traveled, and especially for these brides and grooms coming in and like, wow, I just had a wedding experience.
Well, and I think that's what people want. With the advent of social media, it has to be an experience. Everything is an experience. It has to be Instagrammable, right? I'm not a TikTok girl, but apparently that's, you got to do that too. But
You do have to TikTok, you do.
I can't get on that bandwagon. I can't do it. But Instagram and Facebook are enough for me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was off Facebook for a year, and then I opened the business, and I was like, oh, I got to get back on it.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, everything is an experience. It doesn't matter if it's an hour or if it's 12 hours or if it's 2 days. All the vendors are there to create an experience, not just make your day look pretty.
That's true.
Right?
That's so true. It's like a whole, you can't just, it has to be an experience.
I mean, because if you guys came on there and gave some lame performance,
Yeah.
or just stood at your mics and just kind of claps back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, but you guys are up there. You're getting in the audience. You're jamming. This person's singing. Now this person's singing. You've got 1,400 people up on that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a pretty big band.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. And so for the, what you do and like glamping and everything like that. So are there, you talked about, hey, we've reached out to this venue, or we've talked to them. Are there people that or venues, or, maybe somebody in like South Carolina that you're looking at and you're like, yeah, one day I want to be.
Oh, like ones we want to emulate?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's they're mostly out of state.
Yeah.
There is one in New York, upstate New York, and I'm spacing on their name right now, but they were my original, that's exactly what I want to do. Now, they're an old dairy farm. They've got beautiful barns. And I'm not trying to recreate the barn thing.
Yeah.
That's done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's plenty of that is what I mean by that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do another barn. But I was like, and they do weekends. And there's another one I think it was in one of the Carolinas, actually, now that you mention it. And they have glamping, and another one has glamping. So this is actually becoming more common, is people are providing the place to stay. You know, I mean, we only have 3 units, but it's 8 people. So, but we're a small venue, 150 people max.
Yeah.
Because I also think weddings are scaling down in a lot of ways too. People want that more intimate factor. But oh yeah, we're always looking, and it's sometimes you almost don't want to, because then you do that comparison thing. You're just like, man, I don't have another $1 million.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, seriously. I mean, my visions are big. I mean, I'm working with RDG. It's a design firm. And they're going to come out and we're going to kind of start putting the stuff that's in my head in drawings. You know, because I want a venue. I want to put a spa out there. You know, I mean, I want it to be a thing.
Yeah, let's go.
And I'm hoping that once we get visuals, you know, if I have to go to investors, because again, I don't have a couple million sitting around and the banks are like, no more.
Yeah.
You don't have enough to offer us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are leveraged.
Yeah.
You know, so we need the glamping people. We need the weddings. We need your money. Because it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. And we're a mom and pop shop, really. I mean, it's just me and my husband started it. And I mean, my friend Heather comes in. My dad, when he was able, he comes out and mows. I mean, it's just every weekend I go out there and play farmer.
All hands on deck. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, or it's just me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we really are. We've put everything into this. When people say they put blood, sweat, and tears into it, for me, it's not just a saying. I have literally bled out there, cried a lot, because I'm like, what did I just do? Am I having a midlife crisis? But no, I know I'm not. I say that jokingly, but and physically, we do everything out there. So
you're just chasing after it.
I'm just chasing after it because I can't see working for corporate. That's really kind of another thing that spawned this. I was just like, this is what the next 20 years looks like? Yeah. No, thank you. Right? I mean,
we've seen as a theme with a lot of the people we've interviewed and other business owners we've met in the wedding industry. Just
right. Like, Cornell, I'm so excited you're like got to make that leap. I know it's scary as heck.
Don't do it.
Right? Well, I haven't done it yet. Because I'm like,
Don't do it.
I'm like, oh God, that's a huge pay cut. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And people will ask that. I mean, my family asks that. When do you think you're going to quit your day job? I'm not until the business can pay for itself. Then that's when I can go out. But I'm supplementing.
Yep.
That we're supplementing. Me and my husband are supplementing ALA. So, yeah, it's draining, but I think, like you said earlier, a lot of people just give up. And honestly, I can see why, because I could sit there and I question that, and I have that out with Heather, and I'm like, is this the right thing? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Did I go down the wrong path?
Yeah.
Because financially, it is scary.
Yeah. I also feel like, just from, you know, what I know of you, though, I just feel like you don't have that, like, in you.
I do not.
To be
I'm
like,
stubborn.
Yeah, exactly. I don't feel like you have that to be like, I think it's time to, like, wrap it up, you know?
No, but I'm stubborn, but I'm also going to be real about it. Like I said, as long as each year's better than the last, we're on the right path.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and we're getting our name out there more and more. I mean, that's the other thing. It's so much word of mouth. Yes, we're on social media. And our following is okay. You know, we really need to ramp that up. So if you want to follow us. But just saying. But, you know, we've done advertising, and, you know, you just start going, okay, did that work? No, we didn't really see anything from that. So it's just.
Yeah, I think.
There's no clear path, and it's driving me crazy.
No, I'm telling you, you just gotta stick it out.
You do.
I mean, when we were in year 2, I mean, shoot, we only had. I want to look at the number.
Yeah, we only did one wedding on that one first year.
Yeah, one.
And then maybe like a dozen the next year.
I don't even know. I wanted to say like
don't even know.
7.
Yeah,
I wanted to say
probably.
like 7.
Yeah.
And it honestly like was pretty like once we kind of, I don't want to say like plateaued, but once we kind of, I guess, regressed to the average for like a couple of years, it was like 14, 15.
Mm-hmm.
And then we literally jumped from like 14, 15 to like, I want to say like 40 something. And then
That's
now
amazing.
that's consistent for us where we're like 40, 50, 60 events every year.
That's a lot of singing, y'all.
Yeah.
But we had this one, last year we had this one weekend where we had a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday event. So singing 4 hours, 3 days in a row. And then on the Saturday, we had 2 events. So we actually sent out 2 different bands.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, we can never do this again.
Well, and see, that's the thing is that's what you learn.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just such a learning curve.
But at the same time, though, when we were in that space, when we have like 7 weddings, we're praying like, dude, just come on, please, like give us some more, give some more.
Right.
And then you have that when we have 3 in a row, and you're like, dang, like that was too much. Like I can't.
But you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, you don't know what you can and can't handle. So
Yeah.
you know, okay, we did that once. That's not going to work because we're going to be unable to sing the next weekend
Never again.
because you're going to blow out your voices. But that's the other thing too is because obviously once we start having weddings out there, events. I mean, we're talking about weddings right now, but it can be really anything. You know, we're just talking one a weekend. So we're unlike other venues where they will do multiple. And for me, that's really good.
Yeah.
For my own little heart. That, you know, that stress, but I'm also not the coordinator, right? The event coordinator or the event planner. We're just the venue.
Yeah.
And that's really what I want us to be. There's so many good planners out there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Andrea is going to
Yeah.
do our style shoot from AZ Co.
Yeah.
And you know, I know Rachel J's not doing it anymore, but there's others. I'm sorry if I'm not naming all the people that I follow, but there's so many good ones. And I'm like, I don't need to do that.
Very.
They are people that do that and do that well.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I couldn't, because I'm a creative. I'm just saying, but I don't want to. It's
Right.
you know, I was listening to Andrea's and I was like, the amount of work that she puts in is real.
Yeah.
You know, and I want people to collaborate with people, right? I mean, we're the canvas.
Yeah.
That's what we are. We are the canvas, and you can paint whatever you want on it, right? I mean, whatever vision you have. I mean, we've got the redwood barn if you want that little more country feel. You know, you can put a tent up on the hill and have a whole entire view of the property. There's whole grassy areas. You could do a little ceremony in the vines. I mean, it's really multifaceted.
Yeah.
You know, so, and of course it's outdoors, which is tricky. I think that's the tricky part in Nebraska because we are,
Because you have like 2 months where you can have an outdoor thing.
we're blazing hot or we're freezing. Although we've had some amazing falls the last 2 years, so please give us another amazing fall this year. But tents, I mean,
Yeah.
you can do so much with tents nowadays, and there's so many styles and heaters, and I mean, really, the sky is the limit at our property.
Yeah, I think with just, I don't know, I feel like, I hate to sound like cliche, but I feel like it just takes one, you know? Like
That's what I keep saying.
One of those
Gonna
weddings
hook
where,
the one.
yeah, because we did a wedding last year that was in somebody's backyard, basically. I mean, they had a huge property.
Right.
But it was a whole tented thing, and we were out there and we're like, dang, like this could be a wedding venue. Like they could do what?
Don't break the sofa.
Hello. Yeah, they could do weddings out here. So it's like exactly what you said. You're the canvas.
Right.
Just need a creative to come in there and be like, oh my gosh, I have this
Yeah.
vision for this.
We are the
space."
backyard.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody to put a tented wedding or an event out there just to see, you know, how beautiful
Right.
it can be. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a canvas. You have all that space. Somebody
Right.
comes in and decorates.
And you
in
don't have to
there.
worry about traipsing through your house,
Yeah.
going to the bathroom, right? For me, that would be a no. So, this gives you that feel without being like, okay, Mom, clean the whole entire house
Yeah.
because everybody's going to wander everywhere.
Yeah. So
Stock up on toilet paper. Looking for a getaway nestled amidst nature's embrace where the stress of the world melts away and tranquility becomes your closest companion? Amber Lea Acres is the ideal destination. Our unique property is the perfect backdrop for life's most precious moments. Our guests rave about the amenities in each of our glamping suites, from the clawfoot tubs to the king-size beds. If you haven't glamped, we can't wait to have you stay. If you're looking for something special for your next event, or you're dreaming up a wedding with an intimate guest experience, Amber Lea Acres is the quintessential choice. Book your stay or event today and discover the enchantment of Amber Lea Acres. It's more than a destination, it's a tranquil experience you won't forget. We can't agree more, you deserve to disconnect. Visit our website at amberleaacres.com, and that's Lee with an A. Again, that's amberleaacres.com. Amber Lea Acres, where nature meets luxury and memories are made to last a lifetime. People, have events out there, but hosting some as well, maybe creating some of our own. We're always talking about like a maker's market or something like that. So we've always got a million ideas. It's just execution, right?
Yes.
So
definitely.
I know.
So I guess what's kind of, for the glamping portion of it, because you feel like you've got that kind of solidified, I guess have you seen other places, like the place in New York or the other places that you're getting inspiration from? Are they doing glamping with weddings as well? Or like what kind of trends, I guess, do you see kind of emerging from that space?
Yeah, no, that's a fair question. So those that I kind of look at for inspiration are really event venues with glamping. Right? So you book your event and you get the property and you get this many places to stay. They're not, whereas we are glamping and events. So people just like right now, people are booking to glamp.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas these other ones, from what I can tell, aren't.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I'm something about the New York one telling me I'm wrong about that one. But for the most part, that's what I see, is because, now granted, they're in North Carolina in the mountains. You're in upstate New York. So you've got some amazing scenery around you.
But it's just like you said, though. People underestimate Nebraska.
They do. And
we
really do have beautiful, it's the hills, especially when the sun's hitting them just right. They kind of get that foggy kind of feel to it. Like it's almost like painterly.
Yeah.
If you're just standing out there, in the sky, we always get those fun puffy cotton clouds out there.
Yeah.
So
I am like the biggest Nebraska fan.
Same.
Like, not Nebraska like the football team, obviously. I do.
Oh, we'll go Big Red.
But like just Nebraska in general. Like anytime somebody's like even remotely interested in like moving or coming here, I'm like, you should.
I am too. I wasn't so much as a kid because you just don't appreciate it. But once I left, I graduated college and I moved to California. And then that was a whole new appreciation. And then I moved back after about 7 years of being gone. And I was like, yep. Because I was traveling all the time. And so I've seen other places, other countries, other cities. I've been to every state but one. I have New Hampshire to knock off my list. But
Wow.
so I know. Well, that was through work. So I've seen a lot of it. And it's a good place to come back home to. It's simple. It's not madness. I always kind of giggle at myself when I get angry at traffic, but I'm like, this is not traffic.
Right.
But I am really a huge defender of Nebraska. And my husband always laughs at me. He's Australian, so he's just like, Australia is the best country in the world. I'm like, okay. But where he's from is gorgeous, and his friends and his family are fantastic. But because he's just like, you Nebraskans, you really just, I'm like, because we have to.
Yeah.
Because people just poo-poo all over
It's like
it.
a hidden. It's like a hidden gem, honestly.
It really is. And I mean, I feel like we shouldn't keep giving that away because we don't.
Yeah,
need more
because you
people
don't.
here.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's so crazy though, that you've been everywhere, traveled everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and really you could have
Lived anywhere.
and had your business anywhere, and
Yep.
you're like, no, Nebraska's it. Nebraska's the place.
Well,
That's
Nebraska's-
insane.
Correct, because Nebraska needs it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a couple other glamping. We are not the only glamping place in town.
yeah.
There's a couple others, but we are the only glamping in event venue.
Yeah.
So there's that. But when you go to places like Utah, Colorado, North Carolina, there are so many of them there.
So, yeah.
So many options, and a lot of them are kind of corporate-ish. They've got lots of money behind them, you know, which makes me very jealous because I want that money without the corporate people.
We all want more money.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get there. I mean, we're just like you said. Let's look at this in 5 years and be like, look where you were at, girl, and this is where you are now.
Yeah.
Because I would like a crystal ball personally. You know, I know it's a marathon, not a sprint, but it's stressful. It is stressful.
Yeah.
It is no joke. Like I said earlier, you know, I think the basis of this conversation is about, you know, really letting people what it's like. And it's a grind. It's financially stressful. It's mentally taxing. If you're doing it with your partner, your husband, your wife, whatever,
Yeah.
it is stressful in that relationship,
I'm sure.
you know.
What are some of like the best parts of what you get to do?
All those things. No,
It sucks. It's the worst.
I know. I sit there, and that's what it sounds like I'm saying it, but it's reality.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. But the part that's really great, like the day my tents showed up, I cried.
Yeah.
God, I sound like such a baby. I mean, I think that's just part of getting older too. I'm like getting more emotional apparently, but they did because we had been working that land to get it ready, you know, putting in the infrastructure, putting the pads down, you know, leveling it. My husband, you know, he got to rent all the big toys.
Yeah.
So for him, that was great. But once those semis showed up with those on there, I was just like, this is real.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is real. And then they got put up and I got to start decking them out so I have a background in interior design. That's my degree. And so I got to tap into that, and you really get to see the fruits of your labor. Mm-hmm. That's the rewarding part is like, you're like, I have spent all this money and, you know, reworked budgets and been cried about how are we going to do this? Are people going to come?
Yeah.
Right? Are people going to like what I have to offer? Are they going to pay the price point that we've put up? And the answer has been yes. And I mean,
so
our
cool.
first glamper, we have little books in each of our suites. That's what we call them, for people to write us a little note. And it's all been amazing. You
So they're
know,
loving what you're doing.
they're loving it. So it validates you. You're just like, okay, yes, I am doing this because with all the creative stuff I've done, my art and stuff, I don't put it out there. I'm really hesitant to put myself out there. And this is me translated into these physical things. So people are, in a way, judging you. So it's very personal.
Yeah.
Very personal. And I really want to be able to, in 5, 6 years from now, be like, we built this. This was my vision. We built this. This is my legacy.
It's gonna come.
Yep.
That is something that we've heard, honestly, kind of as a theme, I guess, from other vendors, is that doing this, it is very personal. It's your work. It's your art. If you're, you know, florist, if you're a photographer, a videographer, you are putting your name on everything that you're doing.
Absolutely.
And so it's very vulnerable. It's very, what are people going to think of me? And then, I don't know about you, but I just have this huge fear of failure.
Boy.
So
Yes.
it's like I'm always thinking like, okay, like what are people gonna think if like this doesn't
For sure.
work, you know? And so in some ways it's like good because it keeps me
Motivated.
but in other ways I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is gonna happen? So that is that's real, very true for not just you. I think a lot of vendors
Absolutely.
feel that same way.
You know, and it sparked something when you said that. The other thing I love about what we're doing is meeting all these creative people like yourselves. You just, florists, photographers, all of them, everybody. It's like, oh, okay, you vibe off each other. And you're like, okay, there's other crazy people in this world besides me.
Yeah.
You know, because it does take a little bit of crazy to start your own business.
Yeah.
I've never done it before in my entire life. I've always worked for somebody. And this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. The hardest.
Dang.
Yep. I mean, I tell everybody and anybody who's willing to listen that, because I'm like, you just got to be realistic about it. It is absolutely the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
There's so many people though that I think that when you're sharing that, and I'm sure you know our listeners and viewers and everything that see this though, that are on the other side of that, because they look at you and they see that you are one of the ones that were willing to roll the dice, you know, because you know whether, and I'm not putting this out there, whether you fail or succeed, you know, you took a step that 90% of people will not take, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
That failure, because I'm like, well, worst case scenario, we sell it all and we bail.
Yeah.
But it, you know, but like you just said, oh my God, to me, that's a huge fail.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to see this all the way through because I feel like if I don't do it, somebody's going to just pick it up and do it. And I'm going to be so jealous.
Yeah. They're going to take it and run. And you're like,
yeah. And I'll be like, dang it, those were my ideas, you know? So,
and a lot of times those things are just on the other side of, you know, the failure, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, I keep hearing, and I'm sure you guys heard it, it takes a new business, 5 years to really get off the ground?
Believe it.
Yeah.
Well, you're in 8 years. I mean, and you guys...
We still don't.
They're still learning a lot of stuff.
We still don't.
I'm not saying the learning stops. I don't think that ever stops. But where you feel like you can quit your 9 to 5, or, you know, you have that, your foundation's a little more stable. Right? I mean, we're still on, it's definitely not solid. I don't know what our foundation is, but it's not solid yet.
I think that, I can't remember if I said this with another guest, but I think that, I don't know if I was watching another podcast or something, but, and maybe I'm just making this up, but there's a common trait with people that are entrepreneurs and business owners, and it's that they have like a certain level of like delusion or something.
That's what I'm saying. It takes a certain level of crazy.
Because, you know, everybody hears that. Everybody hears the like, well, it takes 5 or so years to, you know, get up and going. And I think that when we were first starting, I feel like I just didn't believe that. I feel like I was kind of like, it might take them 5 years, but I ain't gonna.
Same.
Like, you have to have a certain level of like just blind. I don't know. I almost want to say like stupidity. It's not stupidity, but you are really just betting on yourself, like a huge bet. Like in your instance, you know, when they say like you bet the house on this one, you know, hand, you like literally did that. Yep. You're like, I'm going $1 million in. Let's roll the dice, see what happens. I
know, man. And when the bank wants their money, you're like, boy, that's a big payment.
Yeah.
You know, so, but it's an experience, and, you know, we do it because it's hard. I think. To your point about personalities, I don't think somebody who's like, oh, I just want to do easy things, they're not going to do this.
Definitely not.
Right? Because this is not an easy thing. I want to crush all hopes and dreams right now that people think, oh, you go out and do this and make things look pretty. Nope.
Yeah.
It is one of the hardest things you will do, and you have to be prepared to
Yeah.
break yourself in every way possible and then pick yourself back up. Right?
So I guess I kind of have like two questions, but you were talking about how you've gotten to meet other vendors and other creatives. Do you have other vendors in our industry, or like kind of the wedding, I don't know what we call them, like WIPA and like Nebraska Wedding Day, but do you have vendors in that circle that you really lean on, or they have been the ones to, pick you up?
Well, you guys.
Oh, shucks.
Seriously, you guys, Laura Elizabeth photography. She's
Yeah.
going to do our photography for our styled shoot. She's been really great. Carol from WIPA, she's the ceremony
officiant. Right?
officiant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's awesome. Yeah.
She's fantastic. Crystal with Wallflower.
Yeah.
She's always willing to chat. Andrea, of course, I've mentioned her a couple times.
Yeah.
Before she even agreed to do our style shoot, she sat down with me and just kind of said, hey, my coordinator from my wedding in North Carolina, we became friends with her. So I've reached out to her. It's been a while, but, and slowly, we're building those relationships, but, because we're about to go into season, we get very tunnel visioned. So we're like, okay, it's glamping now.
Yeah.
So we got to focus on that. And then, okay, we'll do a little bit of wedding stuff over here, like go to a WIPA thing, or, we're going to go to your guys' event here in a couple weeks.
Yeah. March 9th. The
Right.
wedding experience.
No shameless plug there, but so yeah, I mean, but for the most part, everybody's been pretty welcoming, and just kind of tells us about their experience and all that. But
yeah, and I think that's one of like the main reasons why we wanted to have this show, because one, you mentioned it earlier, nobody has written a book that says this is what it's like to open up a venue, this is what it's like to be a videographer. And so we just wanted to be able to have that space for vendors to come and sit and talk and vent and share, like this is what it really is like.
Yeah.
a little behind the scenes.
Yep.
Yeah.
What the couples don't see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
because
the wedding
everything on
vendors.
Instagram is real, right?
Yeah.
But all that hard work though that you put in, gets you to that Instagrammable moment.
It really,
you know?
well, it doesn't get to my Instagram moment. I mean, if you look at my Instagram, my post from this past weekend was picking up walnuts from a walnut tree that shedded all of them. So,
which is part of the process.
it is, but it gets to, we're making it for others' Instagrammable moments. That's really what we're offering, We go other places to get ours.
Yeah. So what does this upcoming glamping season look like for you? Like, how many people do you have coming in, or like what exactly does that?
So it's interesting. I actually just got a few bookings in the last couple of days. We get a lot of girls' weekends.
Oh, let's go.
We get a lot of ladies' weekends. I think with the nicer weather, it's really interesting because, Nebraskans, it's wintertime. We stay inside. Nobody talks to anybody or sees anybody for about a couple months. And so now people are starting to think about, I'm going to start doing things outside. And now they're starting to book and we'll start to pick up more. Once school's out, then we'll pick up some more. People figure out what their kids' schedules are. The fall is always our busiest.
Yeah.
October is our busiest month because it's
October.
gorgeous. So it just kind of starts to trickle in, which is always the sweaty palms part. You're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got 2 more. All right, we got 3 more.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're open all week. Primarily our weekends will get booked pretty quickly. But then we'll have a couple during the week. But technically, I mean, you can book for 7 days of the week.
Dang. Full week retreat. We'll bring the whole band out there for our retreat.
Yeah.
And
You
cool.
guys have like way too many people though. You're gonna have to do this in phases because we sleep up to 8, and some people. I mean, y'all are gonna have to consider sharing beds or bunk beds.
listen, it's about the experience.
Well, yeah. leads to a question: what's your capacity then when it comes?
8 people. So we have 2 that sleep 2 and 1 sleeps 4.
That's like one tent, right? Or are you saying
all
like
3 tents. So
there's
3
only
tents.
3 tents on the property?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then 8.
They sleep up to 2 and 2, 4 and 1.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yes, because one of them has bunk beds.
Okay.
So
We'll have to do the retreat in phases. Phase 1 is phase
do the
1
horn
is
section.
rhythms.
There you go.
Right, vocals. You guys get your own weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vocals, they always make it about themselves, you know.
Right.
Guitarists, they can do their own thing around the campfire.
Right. You're gonna really cliche it out. Right. No, but so yeah, we sleep 8 right now, and as we get more people, you know, we can, and it's viable to add more, then we consider adding more, but we're good with the 3 because I also am the housekeeper.
That makes sense, yeah.
Dang.
So
Don't want to have too much to,
yeah, and it's
it's just you and your husband.
yep, and when he's working it during the summer, it's me. I'm flipping those tents.
And your husband, he's a pilot,
He's a crop dusting pilot.
crop dusting pilot
Yeah.
from Australia.
Yes.
I've been wanting to ask this from like since the very beginning when you mentioned he was from Australia, but does he ever get, this has nothing to do with your business.
It's all right.
Does he ever get mad when people like try to do an Australian accent? Like when they talk to him and they meet him and they're like, how you going, mate?
That's not an life.
Do people do that?
No, because
When I
people are
first met
so stunned
when I
by
first
his
met-
accent that they're just like, where are you from?
Yeah.
When I first met your husband, it took everything in me to not,
Say it back.
yeah. Like,
Australian accent's the hardest one to do.
I know, but like when I was little, I wanted to be an actor, so I used to practice accents a lot. And
Let's
so
hear it. Let's hear your Australian accent.
I just did it. I just said, how you going, mate?
It's pretty good. It's very Crocodile Dundee, but it's pretty good.
Not bad, right?
No.
Not too shabby.
I feel like everybody's gauge is Crocodile Dundee, but
I mean, that's a good, yeah.
it's pretty good. Honestly, there's only a couple words that he said.
Australia. Somebody told me that you're not, I knew this Australian person. She said you don't say the L. She said you just say Australia.
Australia. It's like
Yeah.
a Y almost.
Australia.
Yeah,
that's-
Straya, because they call it Straya.
That's what she told
For
me.
short.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask your husband. But does he get mad when people like,
No. Julian, no. He does not get mad.
okay, next time I meet him,
Because he'll do
how you going, mate?
You know what he'll do? He'll do his American accent, which is always deep South country.
Really?
He'll be like, well, I'm fine. And you're like, he's like, that's what you guys sound like. I'm like, no,
Dang.
we don't. So he'll throw it right back at you.
Okay, Julian, if you're listening to this, just be ready for next time you see me, because I promise you. How you going, mate? How about another shrimp on the bobby?
So I actually have a picture of him grilling shrimp on our barbecue, by the way.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. If there's an Australia cliche, I probably have a photograph of it, and he is it. So, but he's amazing.
I can never do Australia because,
All the bugs and all the things that kill you, right?
I mean, I was going to say that, yeah.
Trust me, they're not that frequent.
Well,
It's not.
I've been there a few times, and I've seen one redback spider, which is a black widow, and I've seen a couple brown snakes. And that's when I've been driving. Or I'm not driving because it's on the opposite side, but when Jules is driving.
nah. I've seen too many videos when they have snakes on top of their refrigerators, and I just couldn't do it.
His parents live in the country, and I've never seen that.
But
the bugs, the flies, you should be more afraid of the flies.
I'm afraid of everything. So I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But, more power to you who like to travel. And,
I do. I love it.
yeah.
I love it. But I just keep trying to bring all that back here.
So with everything kind of, it's just so hard in our industry because things come in and out. Like, this is trendy, this is
yeah.
not. Like, one of the things that we just never see anymore is like the cake cutting or the garter
I
toss.
know.
Or,
Those are
sorry,
fun.
not like we don't see cake cutting, but we just don't see it like being such a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Right.
definitely don't see the bouquet toss like ever. I couldn't even tell you the last time we saw a garter toss. And
Yeah.
so, do you think that like the industry is moving more towards kind of what you were saying, the more like bohemian outdoor, like I don't want to go have my wedding at a, you know,
barn building,
yeah,
or
whatever.
whatever.
Some big event venue.
I think,
I
yeah.
want
In
to
the city
do
or something.
something out where I can see the Nebraska sunset, you know.
I think you're always going to have people who want to do that.
The alternative.
Right. But I think because of social media, people want to be different.
Yeah.
Right. And we're offering that because the venue, the land is never going to change. I mean, we might have more flowers and things like that, but more trees. But each time somebody comes out there, their vision is going to change what it looks like. Right. Because you might incorporate one piece of the property more than the other. But I always think people are going to definitely want to gravitate towards an indoor. I think there's definitely those people. But I think just from what I've seen is people are wanting more outdoor. They're wanting more intimate weddings. COVID changed that. They want it to be an experience. You know, it's a show.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's a production.
Yeah.
You know, so so I think that's why we're on the cusp of something,
Yeah.
you know, and people want to party all weekend. I mean, there's definitely those people because, I mean, you come out there, you do your rehearsal, people sit around a bonfire, you have your wedding the next day, you don't have to be off property at any time, you get up the next day and have a brunch, and then you got to go. But
yeah, that's an amazing.
yeah.
Because if you don't have to stress about, oh, we gotta leave at this time, and you can really just enjoy your entire weekend.
Yep.
You know, the rehearsal dinner, you know, the reception and the wedding, and then the next day just hanging out with, you know, those people that you want to celebrate with. I think that, just imagine somebody having like a huge wedding with like a tented wedding out there. I forgot who that one vendor, she's like international.
Excuse me.
I want to say she does like the lettering and stuff like that. I forgot who it was. We just met with her not too long ago.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about. Sorry.
I forgot. But yeah, there was one of the weddings that she did, and it was just in this middle of this huge wide open space, and they had a huge tent.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, there was probably like 800 or more
That's nuts.
people that they had at that.
Wait, was I there?
No, it was it was just a wedding that I saw that she did on
Oh, I see.
Instagram.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because she does it. She goes all over.
Okay.
And I really wish I could remember her name.
Well, there's a lot of those in South Africa. Like
What?
a lot of the tented weddings.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my Pinterest inspiration is, I'm like, where's that at? Where's that at? And I'm like, oh, it's South Africa.
Yeah.
They do a lot out there. So, because, I mean, I think people think, oh, if it's an outdoor wedding, I'm going to have porta potties and
Yeah.
gross. And you're like, no. There's luxury bathroom trailers that people rent out. And
It's all about the luxury.
It's all bougie.
Yeah.
So, you know, you don't sacrifice anything
Yeah.
by not having a building. It's all there to come together. Like you can rent the toilets, you can rent the generators, you can rent the heaters or the AC units.
Yeah.
So, you know, just because a building isn't there doesn't mean that you can't create it.
It would just be limited by people's.
Imaginations.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yep.
I think she had the wedding in like Wyoming or something like that.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to.
You're gonna have to find this
Yeah,
and
I'm
let me
gonna
know.
find it. But yeah, that man, that is awesome. I can't believe we've already gone a full hour of
Yeah.
talking.
I know.
But
Yes, thank you so much for joining us and
Yeah, it's been great.
sharing your unique event space too. It's really nice to hear about that and know more about glamping. And I guess to end things, I'm just kind of curious, like what are some more things that set you apart, like when it comes to the wedding experience? What are some like unique things that they will get to experience while they're on your property? Is there some special that you bring to them besides, because I know you mentioned like there's the handwritten card and stuff, but is there anything else that you'd like to share about?
I mean, it sounds repetitive, but I mean, it is the property.
Yeah, the property.
That is what is special about it. It is the property. I mean, there's a acre pond on there that we dug out, so you'll hear toads or crickets. There's a beautiful blue heron. I've named him Hank. That comes in every once in a while. We just had a bunch of geese out there this weekend, so it's just, you never know what you're gonna see or hear out there. You might catch a deer, and we're only 5-10 minutes from town. Tacama's an adorable little town. You know, they have got some great restaurants. There's another gal there who's moved back. This is her, Tacama is her hometown. And she's opened a farm to table restaurant. There's a speakeasy bar from the old bank in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's a beautiful space. I mean, what she did. And then Summit Lake is not far from us, which is a state park. So people can bike and walk around the trails there. I mean, there's quite a bit around us and up there. I mean, if you're shooting, you can do 88 Tactical's got a shooting range up there, so you might hear that.
Really?
Yeah. They have an outdoor range.
I did not know that.
Pheasant Bonanza's up there. They're a English-style pheasant hunt.
Yeah.
You can shoot clay pigeons up there as well. So, and that they're just up the road from us. Or mostly you just sit and hang out. You don't have to leave. Most people don't. They bring their food, they bring their drinks, and they just hang.
And it kind of goes back to what you were saying at the very beginning, because I think we always are looking for what else, what more.
Yeah.
When it's just
what's
like
different. Yeah.
Sometimes you just need nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The simplicity of like what you were saying when you're in Africa and you had your phone off for 10 days and
yes, it was amazing.
Which I don't think I could ever do that, but
you'd be surprised what you could do.
I don't know.
You'd be surprised.
I don't surprise myself very often.
Well, I didn't think I could either, but actually that's a lie. That's a bold lie, because I actually leave my phone like in other rooms, and I'm just like,
you're like, I don't want to deal with it.
I don't, there's nothing worse to me than like a sound of a group text.
Oh man, the group text be going crazy.
Yeah.
And we have to be in like 18 of them all the time, because
oh yeah, I imagine
you have to have a group text for everybody that's in the band for like each individual wedding.
Yep.
And yeah.
So I have to ask one more question, because I read on your website someone asked on the FAQ about the Wi-Fi. Are people asking for that almost every time, or do you feel like people are actually really trying to disconnect when you're
surprisingly
there?
they're not.
Okay.
No, I mean, I've had a couple, of course. I mean, we have Wi-Fi at, we call it the Morton building, but it's just a Starlink, so it's not that great. But no, I mean, I'm very open about it. It's just like, if you have Verizon, you can get it pretty good cell service. That's what I have. But I'm like, if you want to watch something, download before you come out, because there's no TVs in there. That's not what it's about. You can go to a hotel and do that. Right, because that'll just distract, because I'm guilty of it. I'll take my iPad out there and I'll download stuff, because we've stayed in our own tents too, and we'll just be like, okay, well, let's just crawl in bed and watch a little movie or something before we go to bed, and we'll do that. But that's after we've sat by the fire and done all that. But nope, that is the point.
Just disconnect.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad that people are doing that, and
yep.
Just wish you could see more of that in just normal day life.
Disconnecting.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why people have to force themselves to do, okay, we're going to go do this. We're going to be here for the weekend. And I don't think people really fully disconnect.
Yeah.
They've got their phones. But
I'm going to try it. I want to try it.
You should.
Come out there. I'll leave my phone.
Invited.
I'll leave my phone. And do you have like a lockbox or
No.
safe? Well, I'll give you my phone.
But that's a good idea. There's actually a couple of people that I follow that they have a little box that you put your phone in. Other glamping people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually a good idea.
Okay. I'm going to do it. And as long as you have like a walkie-talkie or something like that, in case I get Like,
Oh,
no, I'm
Lord.
just saying, like, what something happens? Like, what if there's like a mountain lion or something out there, Like, and then I don't have my phone.
Stay in the tent. That's what you do. You stay in the tent. There might be a raccoon or something that walks across your front porch, but
The premise of every scary movie, they hear a noise and they have to go investigate
Or
it.
bring a flare gun, or
please don't do that. Don't burn my place down.
use a whistle.
Right? Oh, Lord.
Bring your pots and pans to bang in case the light gets close.
Yeah, I don't think that actually works, man. Do you have mountain lions out there?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yep. Ain't gonna work for me.
I haven't seen it, but they are in Nebraska. Yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, do you hear?
So here's a piece of advice. If you ever encounter one, don't lose eye contact with it. Don't ever turn your back on it because they go for the back of your neck.
Yeah. Just like an Attack on Titan.
I knew you were gonna say that, man. I knew you were about to say that.
So there's some fun, hopefully you never have to execute it. Also, if you ever run into a moose somewhere someday, just run zigzagged because they can't run zigzagged.
Oh, I could do that. But I also heard, like, when I was a little kid, when they're like, if somebody's like trying to get you or shoot at you, you just run in a zigzag. But as I've gotten older, I don't think that's true. So
I don't know about that, but I can tell you about the moose.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how much I feel like I'll have to actually experience. Because, they say, like, punch a shark in the nose.
That's for real.
Okay. But I just don't.
I go scuba diving, so.
I just feel like a shark.
I mean, I'm going to be so scared I won't have the faculty to punch it in the nose, but.
But I was just, like, thinking about this the other day. Like, you know how in the water you're, like, slow. So, like, what are you punching a shark?
I've seen people, like, put their hand on their face. It's like push them away.
Yeah.
And then, like.
Heck no.
There's a couple dolphins around to protect you.
But, and then they say, like, with the bear, like, you just act like you're really big, but.
Brown bear go big, black bear go small. Or I have that flipped. Black bear go big, brown bear go small. That's the saying.
I would never.
Black bear go
that.
big, brown bear go small.
Mm-hmm.
If I see
survival tricks.
I'm going small.
I know. I hope I never encounter those animals, but
That's why I don't go outdoors.
I'm here for your latest survival.
Anyway, this is glamorous camping. This is
Way
an
tangent.
experience
Way tangent.
you do not want to miss.
There's no bears. There's no tigers. You're safe.
Nah.
You're safe.
Well, that's going to wrap up another exciting episode of the Wedding Vendor Chronicles. Thank you so much,
You're
Amber, for sharing your insights.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you for
and
having
your
me.
experiences and just being real with us. Before we let you go, can you tell our listeners or viewers where they can find you and how they can get in contact with you if they want to have a one-of-a-kind experience?
Sure. So all our social media is Amber Lea Acres.
Mm-hmm.
So both Instagram and Facebook. And then our website is amberleaacres.com, and Lee is L-E-A.
Got it.
Yep.
Don't get that wrong.
Don't get that wrong. It's not two E's.
L-E-A.
That's right.
It's got such a ring to it. I like it.
Amber Lea Acres.
You can thank my dad for that name.
Amber Lea Acres.
Yep.
All right. And for the rest of you all listening, thank you for tuning in to another episode, even all of you over in Australia. Or should I say Australia? And that is a wrap. Until then, happy glamping.
That's right. See you soon.
See you soon.